Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I am bringing you my Mangathon wrap-up. I know I'm a few days late on this, but I've just had a really crazy week, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get into this. Mangathon, of course, for this round. Unsure what round number it was. It ran from the 18th of March to the 24th. It had 3 amazing co-hosts. We had Amanda from A Court of Books and Love, Taylor from Bookish Taylor, and Sydney from Sydney Shelves, and I will leave links to their channels all down below. I highly recommend checking them out. They're all wonderful and just creative women for coming up with the challenges for this round. Of course, there was a bingo board and the goal was to get a bingo, and I did, yay, complete my TBR and get my bingo, which is super awesome. So happy about that. Could not be more pleased with how all of this went. So with that, let me just go ahead and get right into it. Of course, I was doing the bottom vertical, I don't know why, I just totally forgot that word. The bottom vertical line was what I did for my bingo. So first up for me was a new to you manga, and for that, or I don't know, maybe author, unsure, but new to you. And with that, I of course went with Bride of the Water God. This is by Mi Kung Young. I'm sorry, I know I'm apologizing. I'm gonna pronounce all of these wrong and I'm really sorry about it, but I did finish volumes 1 and volumes 2, and I actually, like, after I finished these, I went ahead and I ordered some other volumes in the series, except for some of them, and like later on in the series, are super expensive, like 60 bucks expensive for one volume, and I don't understand because they're an older manga. Maybe they didn't print many of them. I'm not really sure, but I can't promise I'm going to continue on with the series. I really like the story. The art is so beautiful. So beautiful, but it's so expensive, so unsure about all of that. But getting back into this of course follows literally the Bride of the Water God. Soa is sacrificed to the water god Habak in hopes that he will of course grant her village rain after a long drought season. It's very wonderful. It is definitely pretty high on the romance factor. There's a lot going on. And instead of just like having her death, Habak saves her, and it kind of just everything goes from there. It was actually really good. Like I said, some of the most beautiful artwork I've seen in a manga yet in this one, and I'm so happy I read it. I hopefully can continue the series. I'm not sure yet, but other than that, I'm just so glad to have them on my shelves and to have finally read them because it was wonderful. Next up for me was to read one that had been recommended to me. So for that, I went with Fushigi Yuji by Genbu Kaden by Yu Watasi, and I only have volume 1, so this is the one that I read and I loved it. I'm so glad I did. It is an older manga series, of course. This is actually a prequel to the popular Fushigi Yuji series, and I'm so glad I read it. I went into it not knowing much about this world, so it actually involves this like tale of that there will one day be a maiden who comes from the future to basically save them by reuniting these like elite warriors to summon a god, and it's very cool. I'm very interested in it. Hands down will be continuing on with the series. I know that there is an anime for it as well, so I'll definitely be checking out the anime once I finish all of the manga. But with that, I really enjoyed this. I love Takiko. Like, she is so awesome. She's very kick butt and very like girl powery, which is something I really appreciate, especially for such an older manga. Like, I think this is like maybe the 90s, early 2000s, so like to see something like that already coming out in like manga form was like really impressive to me. She didn't rely on anybody, including like her parents. This is definitely going to be an epic journey to follow, and I'm so excited to continue on with this. I cannot wait to see how much more butt Takiko kicks in the future. Next up was to read an old favorite, and for that I went with Gentleman's Alliance Cross volume 7 and 8, which were ones that I just happened to have on my shelf. Now, I wouldn't say this is like an old favorite manga of mine. It was just kind of like an old story that I had enjoyed that I've had on my shelves for a while and I wanted to get read. So I kind of twisted it a little bit, but with that, I did read both of these and I'm so glad I did. I forgot how much I just really enjoyed the diversity of the characters in the story. There is some LGBTQ plus characters in here. I'm so happy that there is. I thought it was fantastic. I also really like just like the general storyline. There is a little bit of a love triangle going on, but it's not like too heavy of a love triangle. It's very obvious kind of like who the character's like end game is going to be. Hane, I think her name is pronounced Hane, not sure, and she is basically sold to a family to pay off some debts, and then she ends up going to like this prestigious school and falling in with all sorts of characters, and there's a lot going on. I feel like no matter what, how I try to explain this manga, I'm not gonna do a good job doing it. So I enjoyed it very much, and I'm glad that I read it. I will be continuing on with the series. It is a completed series, which is really nice because that means that I can just pick up the other volumes and just like get them read a lot quicker. Okay, so probably one of my most favorite reads for this readathon, which was like no surprise to me, was for the challenge to read a shoujo manga, and for that I went with Takane and Hana by Yuki Shiwasu, and I ended up reading all 3 volumes I had on my shelves that I hadn't read yet, volumes 3, 4, and 5, and I'm so glad I did. I love this story so much. Now, I know like if you just read, if you take it at face value, so you read the back of the book, you're gonna think immediately that this is a very problematic manga because it hints at like an arranged marriage setting between a older man and a high school girl. There's like, I think like a 10-year difference, maybe more, between them. But I will say I really enjoy it, and it's not even like, there's very little like romantic, there's not like actual true like romance going on, and it focuses mostly on their relationship, which is hilarious. They have one of the best just like relationships, friendships, maybe a little bit romantic relationships I've ever read. It's so fun. It is hilarious. I absolutely love Hana. She is just such a great character. She always like just gives it right back to Takane, who can be very immature. I think it's hilarious always when like the youngest in the relationship ends up being like the most mature, but I really have enjoyed reading it. I will hands down be continuing on with this manga. The artwork is beautiful. The coloring is so beautiful. I love it so much, and I'm just so excited to have this on my shelf. So this is one I would say you've probably heard about it. Ignore the immediate problematic elements into it. It's not like they're in any sort of like a romantic relationships. There's nothing like that going on. Read it purely for their friendship value. It's wonderful. Cannot say enough nice things about this series. So glad I read it. So proud of myself for reading all 3 of these because it was such a busy week, and yes, I just cannot wait to continue on with the series. And finally, to complete my bingo, was to read a manga with pink on the cover. Now I could have easily have reused some of them. I went with Wotakoi, Love is Hard for Otaku. This is volume 3. I really enjoy this series. It's got some pink on the cover. His hair's pink, her shirt's pink. Like, I'm just calling it what it is. This basically, the basic way to sum this series up is it's just a bunch of like kind of nerdy friends dating, and it's wonderful. I love the friendships in it. In fact, the friendships are probably one of my most favorite points in this series. The friendships between characters are just so wonderful, and I appreciate just like the wholesome goodness of them, and also just like the relationships. A lot of them are very slow burn, especially like the main one that's focused on in the series. Like, it's a very slow burn relationship, but it's so cute to see. It is friends to lovers, so I will say that, even though I put lovers lightly because like I said, it's very slow burn, but glad to have read this. The cool thing about this one too, specifically, is they do include a couple of colored pages in here, which is always really nice to see because you don't see a lot of that in regular manga. So I'm excited to continue on with the series. I would say this might be a little boring. I feel bad saying that, but it might be a little boring for people who are looking for like a lot of action in their manga, or like, you know, nothing so serious. Not that it's too serious, but like the characters are just kind of like nerding out. Like, they just like get together and play video games and go to like Comic-Con sort of deal. So I enjoy it for what it is, and I'm glad to have read it, and I cannot wait to continue on with the series. So here is my manga-a-thon for whatever insert number round this is, but I'm so happy to have participated. Thank you to everyone who hosted this. I'm so glad you guys did. I cannot wait for the next round. And I'm just so proud to have finally read all of these manga so that I can put them onto my red shelf and get them off of my TBR. Let me know in the comments down below if you participated in Mangathon or what some of your favorite manga are, and I will see you soon. Bye!